Welcome back to the Miami Marlins franchise. Here in Season 5, the Marlins are in first place. It's our first season of not being in rebuild mode in the franchise. And we have just hit the All-Star break, and actually, we're going to go past it very quickly today. We would have had an All-Star starter in Evan Carter this season, but he's on the injured list right now and won't be back for a little bit longer. Our only All-Star ended up being Brent Rooker this season, and we just traded for him, so he's only been a Marlin in the series for a couple weeks now. Actually, what was interesting is that Ryan Weathers started the All-Star game for the American League. Of course, he's one of many pitchers we've traded away, and we've seen a lot of these pitchers go on to have much greater success than they had against us. We also had to face Daniel Espino in the All-Star game. We traded him to Boston this season. It's incredible how many pitchers can leave our team and turn into All-Stars. We've had Weathers and Espino make it this season. Edward Cabrera, he won a Cy Young Award. This can't keep happening. There's no way. I thought our deal with the Red Sox this year was going to benefit both teams, but they have fleeced us, essentially, as Espino has put in an all-star season, and it's helped the Red Sox pull away in that division. They're sitting 4.5 games up. Meanwhile, we got Marcelo Meyer back in that trade, and he's basically been a super utility bench player because he's just not been good enough to stay in the lineup all season. I also went through the home run derby very quickly. We have never had anybody in the derby from the Marlins in this series, so I'm not playing one until that happens. We ended up with an Anthony Santander versus Nolan Gorman final, and the champion for the derby this season is Nolan Gorman, who of course has hit many home runs on this channel thanks to the Cardinals franchise. The mission now for us becomes to put us in the best shape possible the rest of the way. 2 weeks until the trade deadline. If there are any big injuries or if there's something else that needs to be done to this roster, we have a couple weeks to sort it out. I'm definitely seeing some support to bring in a catcher this season, and I do think even on a rental basis, it does make some sense. This is a team that I think has a chance to be very good going into the postseason, and I would not be against sending down Mac or even Ramirez at this point just to have someone more reliable offensively there. Another option could be to try to find a third base rental. I'm not really looking for multi-year fixes at this point. We have Johnny Grieve here, and although he's basically at his potential, I'm not going to discount the chance that Aaron Jackson could even be an impact starter with high contact, vision, and clutch. I feel like he could potentially play very well at the majors, and we're going to find out if he can be part of September call-ups. But for right now, this is where we sit. We are doing a much better job than we ever have in this series. In terms of just overall runs scored this season, we are 11th. We're 19th in home runs this season. And we are now top 10 in team ERA after being 30th for most of last year and ending up in 29th. I'll have to see if I can find the clip where I have some of our voting for the All-Star game, but Hank Holder was close, Ryan Pepio was close, and Cole Sands probably would have been in if I listed him at closer, because the way they do the All-Star voting in game is 1 true reliever and then 6 closing pitchers, which is a pretty ridiculous way to do it, but I guess you're getting in a bunch of good relievers. We are also going to be signing our draft picks today and seeing if I added some good players into this organization. I'm not sure it's going to be a great draft, but we could have some pitchers that help us sometime in the future. Romeo Stevenson was our first round pick. High motivation to sign. Let's see if we can wrap that one up rather quickly. Let's offer him $5.5 million, and he is going to sign. We also found out after the draft that our second rounder, Cy Witt, is actually injured, and now looks much worse than I originally thought he would be. And let's get the second half underway now. Taking on the Rays, and both Pepio and Shane Baz are scheduled to pitch in this series. Rays hand us a loss in the first game. Hank Holder, he's having a big day here. Needs a double to complete the cycle. Average is up to 292 and now has 15 home runs. After a little bit of a slow start this season. Hardly remember it.
Ball.
And it is going to be a tough play, but a great job over at second base to get Hank. Cole Sands trying to shut this one down. It's 6-4 Miami, and the ground ball does end up getting through here to a board. And now they've put in Alvarado. I didn't see the pitch count there on Sands, but maybe he gave up a run, plus base runners. And now Alvarado is going to hit one into shallow center. It does drop, and they'll pull within 1 run. I don't really get into these situations a lot where it says you may or may not be involved in the final out, but I do like this option. We've seen the Rays now chip away, and that ball is going into the gap, and now the save is going to be blown. Wow, back-to-back, Sands and Alvarado each have a chance to shut it down, and they come up short. And now they send us to the bottom of the ninth. Agustin Ramirez with, oh, I have to watch. I thought they were going to have me hit here, but it's going to be a ground ball, and they'll somehow pull off the out at short. Rays win. They're going to take this series. That's a stunner. Holder, Rooker, and Joe Brown all hit homers in a losing effort. I've still signed outfielder Cy Witt. I don't think that the signing bonus actually comes out of our budget in any way. I think it's just a little bonus pool for this, but after that, it doesn't really matter. Shane Baz helps us salvage the final game against the Rays. Yeah, I'm not too interested here in an 11-game hitting streak when we're down 10-0. So who got rocked in this game? Wow, that's a lot of home runs. Yuri Perez gives up 6. So we've had a bunch of high upside outfielders drafted in this series. The highest upside is Edgar Batista, who's at 58 overall. So I have these guys down at single A because they're still in the 50s or low 60s for overall. Andreas Ruiz is another low durability player. It might be best to keep him at single A even longer to try to get that durability up with no injury risk. Single A players don't get hurt here in the series. Otherwise, we have Huey Costa and Nelson Iden. We have so many players here. I don't know if they'll really make an impact in the series. But I did want to update you all on the full progress of the draft picks in the series. I keep track of this all separately. I've done this since the A's series so that I can get an idea of how much better everybody's getting, who's developing quickly, who's developing slowly. Because we've moved so quickly in this series, there's actually a chance that some of these long development prospects have a chance to help us out. I'm intrigued with Huey Costa, already seeing that his power is in a good spot, and after a couple more years, I could see him pushing for some major league playing time. Edgar Batista has 97 potential. His power is also already in a decent spot for where he's at. Needs more durability, it's at 62, but he and Costa are the two I hope to keep around. I could see me being open to trading away maybe Nelson Iden, whose hitting is just a little bit further away, but he's solid defensively. And then Andreas Ruiz, if it weren't for the injury concerns, I think would be extremely intriguing. But I think that the injury concerns are very real with him, and he's already 23. So if he were to get hurt, miss a season the way Doug Butcher is, it starts to hurt as you try to get these guys ready before they're 25, 26. But I'm going to give Huey Costa some more playing time now at the AA level, as we just had Nathan Martorella suffer an injury, so there's a spot opened up. You'll also notice down here at AA, Chet Sparbory. He wasn't even playing well down at AAA. So I move him down even further. because I'm trying to train some offense and see if this will ever work. We had a 5-series winning streak going into the break, but dropped the first 2 out of the break. We will get our entire draft class under contract well ahead of the deadline. Let's talk about how great of an addition Shane Baz has been for us. His ERA is now sub-3. His strikeout numbers are actually some of the best he's had in a while, and he's matched the same WAR he had a year ago with time on the clock still. Here are his numbers over his last 2 starts, where he's been very locked in, and we'll see if that continues as we take on the Houston Astros. We took game 1 here in the series. And early, wow, the first 5 for us reach. A Brent Rooker triple helps us get on the board. And let's settle in against Jesus Sanchez, one of many players who have been successful upon leaving the Marlins. In there at 95. We are in first place. We've kind of gone back and forth a bit with the Mets, and I imagine that'll happen for quite some time. Nice catch by Edwards. So we're going to have to keep an eye on both the division race and then how tight the wild card standings are. 2 down. That was away, a little elevated, and Bregman... Oh, Bregman's back on the Astros now in the series. Took me a while to make the connection there. You're telling me Bobby Miller could be like a deadline, buyer addition now the Yankees are interested in Bobby Miller? Guys, you know how bad the starts with Bobby Miller were in this series. Why is this happening? Everybody who leaves us ends up turning into an absolute star. Home run, Xavier Edwards. A 4-0 start as we face Luis Robert. An outfielder could still make some sense for us. We have a lot of prospects too. Although it is early in our window, I do think that we can afford to kind of go for it this year. The one thing that can kind of hold us back is just getting guys who are ideally in the last year of their contract, because we could still have some difficulties going into next year with some arbitration salaries on the rise, guys like Yuri Perez close to free agency, and we've handed out some big deals already. So there's a fair amount of money on the books next year. I'm just not sure how much more our budget's going to rise, but I have to think that this year does add some more money to the room. If I'm getting 28,000 fans into Tuesday games against the A's, they better give me some more budget next year, is all I'm going to say. That actually happened last episode. Curveball swung on and missed. And a changeup rolls through the middle. Fly ball, shallow center field. It's Drew Jones. We are tied 60-44 with the Mets, and it's not looking like these other teams in the East are entering the race. I was kind of buying into the Nationals this season. I felt like they've been much better the last 2 seasons, but not enough to keep up. And we're well above 500 too. This isn't some division where the first place team is sitting at 54 and 49 or something. Good first trip through the order, but Baz walks the leadoff man. Jesus Sanchez gets jammed. That's the first out. And then he gets jammed. Edwards lays out, and too much speed there from Pena. Bregman through the middle, tees up the fastball, and that is going to hold the runner, actually. Bases loaded for Baz. And anybody else up would be great. Just off the outside edge and falling behind Pete Alonso. And it's a bases loaded walk. Astros on the board. And now a drive from Luis Roberts. Left over the middle, a grand slam puts the Astros ahead, erasing the 4-0 deficit. Just trying to go slider away. I felt like I've thrown too many fastballs in this outing. And the slider did everything but actually end up away. White Sox with the 2 American League ERA leaders down below. What a world we're in now. We could see the White Sox and the Marlins both in the playoffs this year. 4th inning. Yeah, we're not getting some of these close calls. And Boz 3-1. Fisher bounces this. Could be 2. Nice job. Oh, come on. That was a Xavier Edwards throw again. That went off target. Sanchez now. I don't think Boz has been bad in this game. We just had a rough stretch at the wrong time is all. Wow. Lining that one. Oh, it's off the glove of Jones. Sanchez wants second base, and it's second and third, one gone. Yep, Boz is going to get taken out of the game. That was an impressive swing given where that pitch was. And despite going down 4-0 early, that is a big come-from-behind win for Houston. Final score is 8-5. We're fortunately able to take the finale, so it is still a series victory after his dud the previous outing. It's a much better showing for Yuri Perez. Also, Xavier Edwards homers in back-to-back games. Now we go on the road to face the Minnesota Twins. PJ Morlando has gotten some starts in right field. He's hit .250. He plays solid defense. But if this team is to make noise going into the postseason, do we really trust him to play much of a role? Well, this is temporary because of Evan Carter's injury. When he's back, it then becomes kind of Drew Jones, Morlando as those right field options. Jones has hit .224. He's had his moments. Certainly we've been here for some of the best moments offensively. But would you feel better about him coming off the bench than starting every day? Little late on the sinker, and back-to-back, these two outfielders fly out. And Johnny Grieve, probably not good enough to stay the starting third baseman unless he can pick it up. Bottom of the order has had question marks all year. Johnny hits one into center field, and he too will fly out. It's a homecoming for Max Meyer, the Minnesota native. Could be a big target in free agency. I think he's going to hit that. I'm not going to be trading him. I don't really see any need to do that just because his eligibility or his team control is winding down. Johnny can't stop this one from traveling into left. Good fastball from Meyer ahead of Ahmed Rosario. He chases strike 3. And Otto Lopez this year with Minnesota has picked up the offense after a very down season last year. 2 for 3 on the day. Let's take a look at what Otto's been up to. He's an 85 overall. He's hit .285, slugging .427. Yeah, last year was just, a bad year amidst a lot of really good seasons, but he's set to be a free agent after this year, so it felt like a right time to make the move with guys like Johnny Grieve working their way up and a chance to get younger. And just past Joe Brown, that's a hit for Lopez. Royce Lewis hitting 300 and thankfully late on that swing. Those are all-star numbers. Just off again, and 3-1 to the Twins' top hitter. And the bases are loaded. Here comes Jose Alvarado then to try to get us out of this inning before it goes any worse. Left on left isn't the advantage we'd like it to be. Nolan Schanuel. A lot of movement here in the franchise, so a ton of players have found new homes kind of randomly. Ground ball, Schanuel. Johnny Grieve throws him out. All right, top of the 8th inning, trying to get some offense going late against the Twins. Michael Kopech's the pitcher. We know him from our last series with St. Louis. He can definitely crank up some velocity. And a drive from Hank is hit to left center, but he's just under this one. And Brent Rooker is going to hit the former Twin. Hit so many homers at AAA, couldn't really get it figured out at the majors with Minnesota. He actually went to the Padres before landing with the A's and really figuring it out. Nice 2-0 slider there, chased a low one, kind of. Should have let it go. Chopper, back-to-back lefty outs for Alvarado. Slide for Drew Jones, and we look to head into the 9th with a 2-1 deficit. Johan Diaz is the closer now, a lefty who's 27 of 30. Big Joe Brown, 15 homers on the year, will lead us off. It's a ground ball to the right side. 1 down. Connor Norby will come off the bench with a hit streak on the line to try and help us out against the lefty. Twins hugging the line as well over at third. So there's some open space in the infield. It's a fly ball on a fastball that was definitely hittable. 2 down. And Augustine Ramirez, just 192 with 9 home runs. Defense hasn't really become the problem, though. Like, Ramirez defense has improved. Max is even better. It's just, can we get some more offense? And as I've looked through different teams that are sellers, they really either have catchers who aren't an upgrade and aren't playing well, or they're on multi-year deals I don't want to take on. Like the Twins have Connor Wong, who I would be interested in, but he's on like the first or second year of a 4-year deal. 2-0 now on Ramirez. And we're ahead. I think we got to take this with how cold he's been this year. Fouled back and it's full. It's just low, and we'll get the tying run on. Morlando left on left, or Noelvi Marte will come off the bench. 4 homers on the season. We don't have anyone that can really run for Ramirez. Marte would have been that guy, but I'd rather have his bat right now. Good pitch, but it goes our way. Marte! Just early. We finally got one down the middle this inning. Again, full count. Got him! Up and away, couldn't fight it off. And the Twins take this one. Not getting the job done here after the All-Star break as much as I'd like. And we have reached the trade deadline here on the 31st. We currently sit a half game back of the Mets. And in terms of a wild card, we're comfortably in position here. 6 games up on the Diamondbacks right now, but 8 games ahead of those teams in the hunt right now. Top of the lineup remains hot. Bottom of the lineup continues to raise questions. And remember, I'm really only looking at deals with those teams that I consider to be sellers. And I would actually take the Yankees kind of off that list because I was seeing updates that they're looking to add, and they're only 4.5 games back of the wild card, and they're the Yankees. So they're going to go for it. But these other teams are definitely options for us. Why did the Reds sign Josh H. Smith at 31 years old to a 7-year contract? $12 million for 7 years. Like, he's playing well recently. I guess there's some stable play to be had there, but 7 seasons just seems outrageous. All right, so here's where I'm at. I've looked at a number of different trade options. I don't have a lot that I like from the sellers right now. So I was looking at players that can both play third base and the outfield, and there aren't a lot of options here that are primary third basemen. And I don't think I'm going to be trading for Max Schumann here, whose season hasn't been bad or anything. If we look for outfielders that could also have some third base flexibility, there aren't a lot of options that actually play great defense. So I'm looking for outfielders that offer a little more intrigue than Marcelo Meyer, because right now he's the guy that can play third base, outfield, and he is in pretty good form right now, but just hasn't shown that consistently this season. If we go to the Pirates, so they have Adolis Garcia, who could play some right field. The offense might not be what it used to be entirely, but he's had a really good season this year. And you want to add guys who are having really good years. You're not likely to trade for a guy having a down year and fix it in the second half of the season. Adolis Garcia, though, might end up costing us a decent prospect in return, is all. I wouldn't want to send them Chet Sparbory right now, but a player like him would still not be enough. Kind of have some interest here in Josh Lowe, who is actually on a 2-year deal, but it's reasonable at $11.5 million. Does have an all-star appearance in the series and is having a really good year. And the Blue Jays also had Davis Schneider, a player they've offered to us in the past that I also had some interest in. He'll be a free agent after this season, and his numbers are somewhat comparable to Josh Lowe. The other option that I've known has been out there all season is actually a free agent, and that is Matt Vierling. And rating-wise, I love where his skills are. Vision, discipline, hits lefties well, solid in the field with some speed, and plays the outfield plus third base. That's what I was looking for. The issue is that he's not played this year. He's just been a free agent. So that's a risk, not knowing the type of form he's in. I think I'm comfortable with this deal here. Josh Lowe is a really solid starting outfielder, and while I like that Schneider's on the last year of his contract, like locking us into $11.5 million for a starter next season, given how questionable our outfield depth has been, probably isn't a bad idea. And I thought it was kind of nice for us to look at adding another lefty to help balance this lineup out a little bit. He does strike out a decent bit, but only like 2 or 3% more than Schneider this year. So I'm going to pick him over Schneider. Also a better base stealing threat, better speed. And I'm actually willing to give them Isaiah Jimenez here in return. This is actually a really intriguing prospect. I forget the origins of when I've added him. I'll go check. But basically, I look at the other outfielders I spoke about earlier with Nelson Iden, and you go to Huey Costa, and now there's like a 5 or 6 point overall gap, but I feel that Jimenez still has a long way to go defensively and with power, and I just see much more upside with our other options. So I had actually acquired him from the Houston Astros. But the way I look at it, this is a trade that will help us out right now, but not really compromise much for the future because of other prospects that are only a little bit behind him in overall. So that's going to be our deadline deal here as we add outfielder Josh Lowe. And I do think getting a lefty had to be a bit of a priority here, given how righty heavy this lineup has been. Taking one last look at catchers, and I might actually have one player that makes some sense. That's Cubs catcher Miguel Amaya. This season, he's slashed really well, 253, 314, 403. Defense, is solid, but good reaction, good blocking. And the Cubs sit in last place in the Central. And we are just going to be sending them Dylan Head in this deal. Actually, a former first-round pick who's solid in the field, but he's only got 74 potential, not going to be a huge factor with us. And we'll make a small trade here to secure a catcher. I'm going to option Joe Mack simply because he has more available than Ramirez. I don't really want to option Ramirez just for the last couple months of the year, with that being his last one. I want the option to do it next season if I need to. I'm also going to send PJ Morlando down. He hasn't done anything wrong, but we just need the space. He'll probably return come September. And I'll be able to continue now bumping up these single-A outfielders to get some more double-A playing time. And I'm saying that Amaya and Lowe will immediately become starters, and we are going to be third base by committee. We got Johnny Grieve, Marcelo Meyer, Luke Keeschel, Noelvi Marte. Just ride the hot hand, and hopefully we can figure it out. And right now, that hot hand would have to be Marcelo Meyer. So welcome back to the starting lineup. And thus concludes our first deadline as buyers in the series. We do lose our series here to the Twins. We have not had a great stretch post All-Star break. Josh Lowe does go yard in his Marlins debut, however. And here are the deals that went down at the deadline. Dodgers and Twins made a small move. The Phillies had gotten Ian Happ, actually, from the Angels. So the Angels had picked up Jonah Bride, but then send out Happ. Kyle Teal was actually acquired by the Mets. I would have been more interested if he wasn't about to get paid there. I didn't want to walk into that situation right now. I'm not really trying to find a long-term catcher. I'm still playing it patient there, but I needed an option for the rest of this season. Otherwise, not too many big moves at this year's deadline. And now that the dust has settled with the trade deadline and the draft, we can take a look at all the ratings now. Here are the players we added in the most recent draft class, everybody. And up top, Romeo Stevenson has 88 potential. We also get 90 on Mackenzie McDermott. So it's a 63 overall starting point on Romeo Stevenson. I'm not too upset with that. Going to take him a few years, but the walk per 9 is solid. Home run per 9. I think with some years of development, he will definitely have a chance to crack this rotation. I'm happy with that pick. Then we get Mustafa Jones, who's also going to open as a 63 with a ceiling of 81 potential. Walk per 9 is also his strength. Then Cy Witt. Despite the injury, I did decide to sign him. He's only going to have 72 potential, though, and probably won't factor into the big league roster. Mackenzie McDermott at 50 overall. That puts him far away from making it to the majors, and there's a chance that someday he's more of a trade piece for us then, given the timeline. Eddie Fernandez starts as a 60, ceiling of 78. Our fourth starting pitcher here of this draft. Good pitching clutch, and I wonder if we should immediately start to think about him more so as a reliever then, with that ceiling and pitching clutch, because he could actually have a good future there. Ronald Madrano starts as a 71 and has 71 potential. So we have a couple outfielders that are basically not going to see a lot of movement, but decent vision, clutch, hits lefties. If there were a bunch of injuries or a bench role opening up, maybe he'd factor in. Has a little speed. We'll see about him. And Alfonso Santana, our last pick. I didn't have much info on him, but he ends up with 75 potential, high strikeout rate. I'm happy with this pick. In a couple years, we'll see what the bullpen looks like. Overall, it's certainly not a great class, but we get a legitimate top of the rotation option, I believe, in Romeo Stevenson, a really good trade candidate piece in Mackenzie McDermott, and then I think Eddie Fernandez as a solid reliever is exciting, but not much to help out the offense from this class. I took two outfielders that won't make much of an impact. So I obviously had other players I was interested in the first round. Jacob Ordonez was one of them. And he's going to start off with some MLB-ready hitting skills, but a work in progress defensively. Exciting pick here for Chicago. Emilio De Jesus was my dream selection, 99 potential. He went at 7. It would have been game over if we had another 99 overall. You know, is he generational? I've seen Hank Holder start as an 83 with 99 potential, but this is also very impressive. Maybe the third best prospect I've seen in this series then, if you count Darryl Ingram in the mix. And he nearly made it to us. Antoine Rosado was another player I would have considered. He starts as a 73, potential of 83. But I think that gives him enough room to become a big-time threat offensively. Defense is a little bit low, but to already be 73 with 10 overall of room and the hitting where it is, that's a nice pick for the Yankees. Waylon Butler was the number 1 overall pick. 92 potential, 57 overall starting point. Decent hit per 9, good pitching clutch. I do think in time he's going to be a really good pitcher. Chris Cisneros went to the White Sox very early. He's a high contact, high vision hitter. And these guys haven't developed as cleanly in this series as some of my past. So we'll have to see if he pops up. And Henry Velasquez was projected to go 1, ended up going 2. Probably should have been the number 1 pick, as he'll be ready to pitch in the majors probably by the end of his first professional season. All right, it's time for the playoff push, everybody. We are 30 days out from September call-ups. What do you guys think of the addition of Miguel Amaya? Very low-risk trade, but again, I wanted to get a catcher who was in good form this season. And Amaya's offense has been pretty impressive. He's gotten a couple games in with us, 0 for 6 thus far. Let's get a game in with the new starting catcher. We get a run early on offensively, and here is Miguel Amaya. 11 homers on the year, hitting .248 against Jacob Mizorowski, who the Brewers have just recently called up in real life. Don't even think he's debuted as of this video. Just a little out in front. I think these two players, though, fit in nicely to what we have. We'll get a nice upgrade there. Hopefully with the bat at catcher while still getting some decent defense. I can't believe they just said Daniel Espino's the favorite to win the Cy Young. I can't have this happen a second time, guys. 2-2 and full. And then Josh Lowe. I feel like getting that lefty corner outfielder is a really good get for us. And then it keeps us, you know, from having to worry too much about defense there at the same time as Amaya grounds out. Home run, Connor Norby. And we go up 3-0. 3-2 count on Miguel Amaya. And over at first base, that is Josh Lowe. Wouldn't mind if he ran here. 3-2. But he stays put, and now the two newcomers are aboard. And it's Drew Jones. He'll get playing time until we have the return of Evan Carter. Remember, Jones all out of options. And that's into shallow left. Popped out. Xavier Edwards with 2 on the base paths. 1-2. And a ground ball up and stopped. And we're safe at second to load him up for Hank Holder. Already 2 for 2 on the day. What does he have for us here? We got a nice view of it. Holder on the ground. It's through. And we're going to hold up here to keep him full. 4-0 Miami. Brent Rooker lines one to third, and the inning is over. I thought I had one there for Amaya. 2 on here in the 5th. And a drive to center. He unloads. Welcome to Miami. Well, I guess Milwaukee in this case, but home run Miguel Amaya. Let's go, Fish. Let's make a run at things this year. 8-0 Marlins. Great moment for the new catcher. Rooker homers, and it's a blowout. Shane Baz doing well, and Correa pops one up. And Amaya ends the inning. Here's an issue I haven't seen at all in this game, but Aaron Ashby's a righty here at MLB The Show. I'll have to fix that, especially for a guy who was such a legend on this channel. One of my favorite pitching additions of any of these series was Aaron Ashby. So good out of that A's bullpen. Nice pitch. They came back. So Miguel Amaya's home run actually playing a very big role now because it's 9-8. What has happened? Bullpen meltdown is what happened. Milt Merrifield and Dylan Coleman gave up 6 runs over an inning's work. Amaya grounds on the grass. Good throw.
Got him.
And Drew Jones sends it up the middle, and that's going to allow him to reach. Infield hit. We're definitely going here with the speed of Jones on the first pitch. And Drew Jones takes second. And a drive belted. That's Edwards. And it's off the wall. A run scores. RBI double. We're back up 2. 3 for 5 is Hank Holder. All singles. It's to right. Fair down the line. Another run will score. A little 2-out rally has rebuilt the lead. Getting kind of bored in this at-bat. Nothing to swing at. Oh, Red Sox fans, this is the pitcher you just acquired, by the way. Jorge Alcala. This is exactly what his season with the Twins has looked like this year in real life. He's had better years, but this is just not one of them. A drive to center. Come on, get out of here. Rooker, way gone. Miami pulling away. Cole Sands isn't even going to be warming up for the 9th now. Down goes Jake Berger. I like winning. And the Marlins win one here in a new way. Blowout early, turns close, and then pull away all over again. 13-8. And I finally hit my first homer with Rooker. And I thought I might have had one there with Edwards. All of that damage, too, with 2 outs. Going on a little bit of a roll here. That sparks us to a sweep of Milwaukee in a 4-game winning streak. Another homer for Brent Rooker in that second game. And then another good pitching outing for Max Meyer. We're still going to be 1 to 2 months away from getting Evan Carter back. I thought it said that at the start of the episode. He's been out since the 8th of July. I just counted we are 12-9 since the Carter injury. So we're holding up. Josh Lowe, bruised arm. I was just wanting to do a player lock game with him, but he'll be back soon. We take the first 2 from Pittsburgh. It's officially a 6-game win streak. Now let's get a game in with one of the new Marlins here. The 80 overall Josh Lowe. Like his fit in with this team. Decent power against righties. Solid defender. Doesn't have a complete skill set. I mean, that's why he's an 80. But there's a lot to like. And I don't mind that we're basically now committing to him for next season, as I was probably going to be forced to kind of consider options in the offseason anyway. So to have one around $10 million we don't have to go to the open market for, I think it's better to trade for a guy with a year left than to go into free agency and fight it out, when I don't think we need necessarily another long-term outfielder right now. With Carter, we have that long-term guy. Norby's playing well. You know, let's get some more short-term solutions until maybe one of the internal guys is really ready to go. We've been patient in this series, and I think we're getting close to a guy like Nelson Iden being an option. Or even Chet Sparbori ending up figuring it out. We still got to be patient with him. If we got rid of him right now, he'd probably go on to win a batting title within a year. Oh, he's hit. Johnny Grieve, bases loaded. Come on, Johnny. Give us something to cheer about here. Base hit right field. That's going to be 2 runs on the board. We'll take third base. Amaya is next. Amaya, that sounded pretty jammed to me. We'll take a 3-run first as we try to go for a sweep. Line drive into left. Nice piece of hitting, Josh Lowe. Joe Brown will hold at third. I also like that Lowe is a really good base stealer. He has the higher stealing than speed, which might matter more. Johnny on the ground. Forget the double play. It's an RBI. See, we just helped out Johnny's numbers there. If it's a double play, he's not getting that run batted in. They holding me here? I can extend this lead. I'm going to steal third. No, I'm not. I really hope it's not caught because I'm already lost. All right. Don't pay attention to this. I just scored, okay? It's fine. Double for Miguel Amaya, by the way. Love the new guys stepping in. So I chose not to acquire Adolis Garcia. Thought that the asking return would have been a little high. And truly was on a 1-year deal, a little more limited with speed. But he sends a base hit to the guy we added instead. Thomas White just gave up another one. That's been his season overall. Like a 2.5 home run per 9. He gave up another one to Adolis Garcia in the next at-bat. He's the one reliever I'd like to replace going into the postseason. But I'm going to look to do that internally. And we still have to clinch, of course. We can't assume much. But might be good to challenge that role. We're going to take that into left center. Josh Lowe, get going. He'll have 2 easily. 2-out double. Johnny, not sure that's going to do it. He flies out. Home run, Drew Jones. Everybody reaching here in the inning. Sasaki's ERA is a sub-2 now. That is disgusting. He's going to win a 3rd straight Cy Young. Nice pitch. Could not get a piece of that one. I wanted to see us get to 10. Guys, stop. Stop. What is happening here in the 9th inning? It's tied. They actually tied it. You're kidding me. We just gave up another rally here. It's not on Sands. He just came in, but clearly it was too late. 6 in the 9th. We aren't the Braves. We don't do that. But we just did. Now you're telling me I'm not done? I was about to wrap up the recording session. Bottom 9. Johnny Grieve. If Johnny gets on base here, I'll do another episode tomorrow. And Johnny grounds out. That's okay. I planned on doing an episode anyway. I have to look at that 6 on the scoreboard right now, and I don't like it. What do you mean we gave up 6? I gotta see this box score. Man. Merrifield and Soriano this time. Come on, guys. On the ground, and Amaya chops to third and is retired. Drew Jones now. 2 down. We know he's had his clutch moments. We're always looking for the next one. Nice pitch. We're going to the 10th instead. At least we have our closer out there. So we're going to get Cole Sands, and we'll try our best to put a 0 up. Triple shy of the cycle, Adolis Garcia. Dude, it's 3-0. Everything close, but not close enough. Just off. It's a walk. There we go. Got a chase. Can we strike out the 7-hitting Nick York? He waves, and Amaya keeps it in front of him. Strike 3. A drive. Left it up. Jones giving chase. He is way back, and he can't get it. Jones did not make the play. And then a delayed kind of throw. Wow, it's a double, and the Pirates take the lead. Ke'Bryan Hayes, RBI double. I thought Jones was going to get to it. He got to the spot. Oh, it is just over his glove. And then I thought it had gotten over for a second, maybe. Man. And Norby plays it on a hop. He'll throw to third, and not in time. It's 11-9. That's 8 unanswered here for Pittsburgh. No sense in leaving Sands out here any longer. We're just going to go with Alvarado now. What a meltdown, though. Thought we had some really good vibes to close out the episode. And overall, they're good. We can still win this game. But we're down 3 now. Another left-on-left hit. If there was anything else I could have done at the deadline, it would be like adding a lefty who can get lefties out, which usually isn't the problem. We have good lefty relievers. That's normally enough. Strike 3. Again, you gotta be kidding me. And then that thing is just gonna roll super slowly. Make it a 4-run game. Fletcher Rankin now. Jones again. Another left-on-left hit. This doesn't make any sense, guys. Now we're down 6. Back-to-back 6-run innings. This isn't even funny. Edwards lines it. Oh, boy. Mistimed the dive. We're going to score a run immediately. And all the way to third. That was the worst send. Good job backing him up there. I could have at least had the leadoff double. I'm not sure he could have hit that any softer. And that's the game. Pirates absolutely plundered us. That was awful. Before we head out today, we do have a series coming up against the Mets. It'll be a great way to open next episode. But we should take a look at these pitching numbers against lefties specifically. Why can't I see it? If I scroll far enough, it gives me hitting ratings. That's irrelevant now. Part of the issue is I can't see the numbers until a guy's in the game. But that's our problem right now, is simply getting lefties out in the bullpen. And the left-on-left matchups haven't worked all year. I'd be willing to call up another lefty, and Kenny Norris would be our best option. And he's a good one, too. Has some really good ratings, a 71 overall, and a draft pick of ours. I might have to call him up and help sort this out. Replace Thomas White, maybe. But anyway, 67-48 is the record. We're in very good shape right now. We've won some series. We've had a hot streak. Well, what a brutal way for it to end. We'll play 4 against the Mets coming up, 4 more later in the month, and see where we are going into September. Do you like the moves that were made today? Do you think they were the right moves, and do they give us a better chance at success going into the postseason? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please leave a like on the video, and I will catch you all tomorrow with more of the Marlins franchise.